Jorge Negromonte, also known as the Brazilian Sweeney Todd, would bake his victims into pies before selling them to local townsfolk.
Welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel. My name is Utikas, and without wasting any time, let's get to the video.
These are some extremely unsettling facts, and I found all these on Reddit. In 1993, there was a doctor named Carl Tanzler who raided the tomb of one of his female patients that he had grown increasingly obsessed with. He then lived with that patient's corpse for 7 years. As her body started to decompose, she would wire together her bones with pieces of wire and hangers. And the only reason this man got caught was because someone saw him dancing with the corpse through an open window. On Mount Everest,
7 years. Like what? 7 years. Like what is even left after 7 years? That's necrophilia on a whole new level, because your meat and hair has to have rotten off after all that time. And wow, that was yeah, we're just going to move on.
there's a road called the Rainbow Alley, but despite the nice name, it's not nice at all. This alley is actually a stretch of miles where several dead bodies remain. It's called the Rainbow Alley because of the jackets worn by the dead people left on Mount Everest. It's estimated that there are about 200 dead bodies on Mount Everest currently. And it's at the point now where hikers actually use them as markers to tell how far up the mountain you actually are. And many people have described it that the dead bodies are still there because it would be way too dangerous and too much of a risk to go retrieve them. There's as many as 100,000 missing person cases in America at any given time. And finally, the fact that CPR only works about 7% of the time outside of a hospital. Hearing those was hard, but that's why
3 famous songs with terrifying backstories. Snoop Dogg's brother-in-law, Jermaine Fuller, was the singer of Peanut Butter Jelly Time. He died after an 11-hour standoff with police despite Snoop begging him to surrender. 15-year-old Jeremy Dell shot himself in the head in front of an entire class of 30 kids.
Yeah, that's one way to go, and a very bad way to go. Like you never know what that kid was going through. So, and it even traumatized his classmates. So, yeah, just very, very sad.
His classmates felt extremely guilty for not befriending him, and his death inspired the song Jeremy by Pearl Jam. Doc Pomus of the Drifters wrote, "Save the Last Dance for me," because he was in a wheelchair due to polio and wasn't able to dance with his wife. At the wedding, he watched his friends dance with her and went home later to write the song. I've added these songs as well as many others to a playlist, and trust me, it's much different listening when you know the dark truth.
This is the scary truth behind celebrities. If you ever seen a celebrity do this hand symbol and then place it over their eyes in photos, it's actually not a fun symbol. It actually symbolizes the number 666. And these aren't the only symbols that celebrities express to the public. And it's leading many people to believe that they are doing symbols like this to symbolize their alliance to the Illuminati. This is extremely crazy. But let's be honest, these symbols that they are doing don't look normal at all. And it really makes you think why they are doing them.
Yeah, like I personally I don't believe in like, if people thought I was an Illuminati member, I do the same thing. But you never know, maybe it's true, maybe it's not. Like, you go and do your research.
Facts that'll eat at you for days. If you thought Jeffrey Dahmer was picky for not eating people with tattoos, Venezuelan serial killer Dorangel Vargas, who ate 10 people, didn't like his victims to be overweight because he thought that they contained too much cholesterol. On Thanksgiving Day 1991, 23-year-old Omaima Nelson stabbed her sugar daddy William before carving him up and his head in a deep fryer and eating him for dinner. In the 1970s, Jorge Negromonte, also known as the Brazilian Sweeney Todd, would bake his victims into pies before selling them to local townsfolk. After murdering and eating his classmate in 1981, Issei Sagawa was released from prison because of a loophole in Japanese law. Since then, he's actually profited off the crime, writing books, appearing on talk shows, and starring in adult films where he bites his fellow co-stars. In 2001, a man named Armin Maiwis posted an ad on a website called Cannibal Cafe looking for someone to be killed and eaten. A German engineer named Bernd Brandis volunteered, and after photos and videos of the incident were posted online, Armin was sent to jail, where today, he's a vegetarian. In 1904, a Swedish sailor named Carl Pettersson shipwrecked on an island inhabited by cannibals. He was captured and taken to a local king, whose daughter actually fell in love with him. The two then got married, had 9 kids, and Carl became the new king.
So instead of being eaten alive, he was made king. That's one way of surviving, and even had 9 children. So yeah. But imagine being one of those people who ate those whatever that guy was cooking. Like you are eating people without even knowing it and going like, that's tasty. So yeah, cannibalism is it's disgusting. It's that's a mental illness. If you if people are doing like eating other people, it's crazy. But it's a very weird world we are living in.
These are some normal looking photos with extremely dark backstories. This is a photo of Bison and Miles Dell. The two are brothers and they're extremely close growing up. Bison would grow up to be an extremely skilled basketball player and go on to play for the Chicago Bulls and win a championship. He was on top of the world. Until one day, Bison and Miles decided to go out on a boat and kind of just spend some time together. It had been a while since they had done anything like that. So they went on the trip and a few days went by and Bison was missing. So an investigation launched and it became eerily clear what had happened. Miles, Bison's brother, had killed him. And the scariest part about it was after doing further investigation, the police had found that Miles was planning on taking Bison's identity. This next photo shows what seems to be a cute couple hugging on the beach having a beautiful moment, but that couldn't be further from the truth. In 1954, a photographer for the Los Angeles Times named John Gaunt heard a screaming going on in his backyard, which happened to be by the beach. So he took his camera and ran back there. And all he would be able to snap was this quick photo of the couple. After getting the photo, he would find out what had happened and it would shock him to his core. The couple was not having a cute moment. They were frantically screaming because their 19-month-old son had just drifted off into the ocean and drowned. Really dark stuff. And I mean, honestly, all of these are just extremely dark, but it makes sense because...
So I found these conspiracy theories that are so believable, they actually might be true. Part 2. Number 1. An unknown super predator in the ocean. There was a 3-meter-long great white shark that was tagged. 2 hours later, a fast-paced dive was recorded, and it was too deep for great whites. There was a temperature shift that went from 46 Fahrenheit to 78. That is a temperature that can only be achieved inside the belly of another living animal. Now, we all know that killer sharks kill sharks, orcas. But let's not forget that orcas are technically whales. They breathe air. They don't go that deep into the ocean. Number 2.
Yeah, so the ocean is very vast, and we've only explored 75%, I think. So yeah, we'll you never know. You never know what's deep inside those oceans, and it could be anything. I mean, anything.
The Simpsons 9/11 attack prediction. In 1997, The Simpsons released this episode predicting a 9/11 event at the World Trade Center in New York. When they reached, there were Jews outside staring at the towers waiting for something to occur. This was released 4 years before the actual incident. No comment. Number 3. Courage, the Cowardly Dog. Muriel and Eustace were turned into puppets at the end of the first season. He had full control over his owners, and all the other episodes were completely the dog's imagination. My childhood just got destroyed. This one shocked me the most. Number 4. Amber Heard's lawyer. In the 2013 film premiere of The Long Ranger, there was a fan holding a camera hoping to get a picture with the star himself. So the theory is she was in on it the whole time. She's obsessed with Johnny. This is dangerous. What's the creepiest conspiracy theory that you heard of?
The one about the Simpsons, I'll have to do my research. It could have been after, and but I'll look at it, like you do your research. And about the one about courage, yeah, that was also part of my childhood. So yeah, that's crazy, man. Yeah.
The real stories and origins of famous Disney movies, and it's not what you're expecting. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. The original Snow White story, written in 1812, has an alternative and gory ending to the one you may be familiar with. It shares almost all the similarities with the Disney movie, except when Snow White is poisoned by the apple. The prince doesn't actually kiss her, but instead takes the casket she is lying in, trips over a branch in the forest, and dislodges the apple from her throat. Snow White and the prince then arrange their wedding and invite the Wicked Queen. Now here's where it gets disturbing. When the Wicked Queen arrives at the wedding, she is forced into wearing burning hot shoes. She is then forced to dance at the wedding until she drops dead. This was said to be her punishment for attempting to kill Snow White.
Scary facts that will blow your mind. Part 1. The middle of nowhere is an actual place within New Mexico. The legend goes that an elderly couple lived out there with their dog and witnessed many strange and bizarre things. One night, they reported seeing a strange creature that they identified as a skinwalker. After reporting this to the police, the family had vanished under strange circumstances. Their dog, however, was left behind. This is the story that Courage the Cowardly Dog was based off of. Like and follow for more.
So there are places I'd never leave. Like I like living where people are. I think most people are like that too. Yeah. So I don't like being in a place that's too quiet. So you never know. Like what if something happens and no one can help you? Not talking about anything supernatural. Like something like that may need help from other people, like someone trying to kill you and your family, or some animal. So yeah, I'd never leave in a place like that. But what about you?
You're about to hear one of the most disturbing stories on the internet. Kip Kinkel was a troubled boy who was always frustrated and anxious in school. By the 8th grade, he was hiding guns in his bedroom, shoplifting, and was caught ordering books on how to make bombs. On May 20th, 1998, in Springfield, Oregon, he was arrested and expelled from school when they found a stolen gun inside his locker. When he returned home after the interrogation, he pulled a gun out of his collection and killed both of his parents. Then he simply ate dinner and just went to bed like nothing happened. The next morning is where things get ridiculous. He brought his entire gun collection to his school and opened up fire, shooting 27 students.
Yeah, so there are a lot of people with mental illnesses. I think that's why. But like you never know what was going on in his family or his home. But nevertheless, no one deserves dying because of other people's problems. So yeah, that was traumatizing. Like, where did he get the gun in the first place? That's the question. So yeah, man, what happened. It's sad. And but yeah, I don't know what to say. So those were scary things that have happened in our world. And yeah, I like watching these kinds of videos from time to time. They're very interesting. So if you want to watch more videos like these, tell me in the comments. And yeah, thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.